All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here today. And I'm very excited to talk with you about National Math Stars and share more information. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to spend about 1 hour on this call today, and it will roughly be broken up into three sections. We'll start off giving you a brief overview of National Math Stars and how we design our programs. In part two, we'll talk more specifically about our admissions and selection process. And then at the end of this webinar, we will have lots of time for open questions and answers. If you are new to Zoom, what I encourage you to do is look at the bottom of your screen. You will see two different ways that you can ask me questions. First is you will see a Q&A button. At any time during the webinar, please type a question. Those will save for me, and I will make sure to answer your question as efficiently as I can. You can also hit the chat button. You're only able to chat with me, but please feel free to submit any questions in the chat if you're having difficulty using the question and answer feature. However, my preferred method is if you click the Q&A button on the bottom of your screen to ask me a question. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get started. First, a brief introduction. My name is Alex. I'm a former fifth grade math and science teacher myself, and I now work as the head of partnerships and admissions here at National Math Stars. So I am the one speaking with you all today, but I am here on behalf of the many staff members that you see in this photo. We're a team of former educators, entrepreneurs, and social workers dedicated to making sure extraordinary students from across the United States have the opportunities and resources that they need to thrive. Specifically, National Math Stars is a nonprofit organization, and our mission is to ensure that mathematically extraordinary students from all communities have the resources they need to reach the frontiers of math and science. Our belief is that in every community, there are extraordinary young students who need more challenge, more rigor, more support, more opportunities, and too often, difficulty accessing those opportunities prevents students from developing their talents and growing over time. We are committed to changing that equation and are excited to be able to work with you and hopefully your child in making that a reality. Specifically, we accomplish our mission by running three separate programs. First is our Math Awards program, where we partner with school districts and state departments of education to recognize and celebrate math excellence in all communities. And then we run two different versions of our STARS program. Pathfinder STARS, which aims to support all students with 1 in 1,000 math talent and passion. And our Voyager STARS program for those same 1 in 1,000 talented students, but with an emphasis on those furthest from opportunity who really need intense hands-on support to get the opportunities they need to thrive. So let's go ahead and dive into these one at a time. I also see someone just wrote in the chat that there is a bit of an echo they're hearing with me speaking. Let me just check my microphone settings and make sure that I'm clear on my end. Things seem to be okay for me. If you're continuing to have issues, just write in the chat. I will pause and make sure to stop and correct any of that. If you're having an echo, what I recommend you do is at the bottom of your screen, right next to the microphone, there's a little arrow. Click on that arrow and make sure that your microphone and your audio device are set to your headphones or your computer as needed. And I encourage you to make sure you've also muted yourself, which can help prevent echoes too. So with that in mind, let's talk about our awards program. Again, the goal of our Math Awards is to recognize and celebrate all extraordinary young mathematicians. Here's how it works. We partner with schools, school districts, and state departments of education all around the country to identify top math students. In general, students are identified if they score in the top 2% on a standardized math assessment. This could be anything from your state math assessment, from a school or district-wide assessment, or from a gifted talented identification exam or similar standardized test. We then deliver a box of awards and award packets to school districts that they distribute and celebrate your child with. And your child brings that award letter home to you, which is why I imagine many of you are here on this call today, because your child brought home a medal, a nomination letter, and you're hoping to learn more about what we do as a program. Here on the left, you can see a bunch of National Math Star nominees from previous years, proudly wearing their medals for their math excellence. So first, let's talk about what's included in each of those award packets. Beyond the award medal, students also bring home an official nomination letter, as well as an FAQ or information sheet containing more details on our program. Included in those resources is an invitation to apply for our STARS program, including both our Pathfinder and Voyager programs. Let me give you a sense of scale by talking about last year's numbers. Last year, across 7 states that we were serving, we distributed more than 12,000 awards and award medals to students for their excellent math performance. From those students, about 6,000 went on to apply. And from those student applications, we ended up selecting just over 250 students to be accepted as Pathfinder stars and just over 100 students as Voyager stars. I share this information to give you a perspective of the competitiveness of becoming a National Math Star. We call every child that receives an award a National Math Star nominee because we believe all of those students deserve to be recognized and celebrated. We ultimately cannot serve all of those students in our STARS program, which is why we run an admissions process to select the students with the highest level of talent and passion for us to dedicate support towards. Therefore, regardless of where your child reaches in this process, whether they come home with a medal and you make the choice not to apply, if you choose to apply and are not selected, or if you choose to apply and are selected, either as a finalist or as a National Math Star, please take time as parents to celebrate your child. We are deep believers in the power of celebration and recognition. Being in the top 2% of their peers is a huge accomplishment, and so we hope you take a moment to tell your child how proud you feel for the hard work and dedication they've put in to get to where they already are. So that's a little bit about our math awards. Let me tell you more about our STARS programs. Again, we have our Voyager stars and our Pathfinder stars. Common across both programs is the idea that we are trying not to replace school, but to build on top of what your child is already able to access during the school day. Oftentimes, families think that the pathway to the frontiers of math and science means doing well in elementary school, going and taking the most advanced middle school classes you can, going to high school taking math classes, and eventually going on to college. And while school is a foundational piece of student success, what research has shown us is the students most likely to grow up and reach the frontiers are doing more than just excelling at school. They're often getting early and frequent exposure to open-ended, ambitious problem solving. They're finding communities of fellow mathy or mathematically inclined peers. They're spending their summer doing enriching science or math-related activities. They're finding other hobbies like coding, artificial intelligence, or robotics to pursue. They're finding hobbies, games, clubs, and teams they can participate with. Some of them are loving competitions. And of course, they're working with you as their parents to make sure they know what they could get at access. Our goal at National Math Stars is to provide these yellow bars that wrap around your child's school experience, build on top of what they're doing in school, and help make sure they have all of the resources and opportunities that they need. So that's what our programs share in common. I'll talk in a moment about the components of our program, which we break into 4 categories: academic development, financial assistance, community, and advising. But first, let me touch briefly on the difference between our Pathfinder and Voyager programs. Our Pathfinder STARS program is open to all students who demonstrate a 1 in 1,000 level of math ability. Our Voyager Stars program holds that same math ability bar. We're looking for 1 in 1,000 math talent, but it also considers a family's level of need. We're looking to serve with our Voyager program families furthest from opportunity with the greatest need, where our investment is most essential to help them access resources. So let's take a look at each component of our program, starting off with academic development. Academic development for Pathfinder Stars includes recommendations, guidance, and discounts, helping your child enroll in advanced coursework. We find most students are ready for harder math than they're able to access at school, and we're committed to helping you as families access those opportunities. We have tutors available to support, application support for finding and being accepted into competitive summer camps, and reimbursements for things like math competitions or other math and science opportunities. Voyager takes those same supports, but brings additional money to help remove financial barriers that exist. So those advanced courses, we will fully fund for every Voyager star. We will provide them with free weekly math tutoring, or what we call math mentoring. We will fully fund and pay for one STEM summer camp experience every year, and we will reimburse math competitions and other supplemental extracurricular math opportunities for our Voyager stars. This academic development side forms the foundation of our work, but it's not the only thing we do. There's no way around it, and I'm sure all of you know as parents, things are expensive nowadays, and we understand that money can be a barrier for many families in many situations to access the opportunities they want. That's why for both of our STARS programs, we offer generous financial assistance. For families in our Pathfinder STARS program, we offer need-based aid that ranges all the way up to $3,000 per year to offset the cost of STEM courses and enrichment. For our Voyager stars, as I just discussed, we fully fund almost all math opportunities in the program, and in addition, provide $3,000 in annual flexible resources that can be used for STEM enrichment. We also cover technology and peripherals to ensure students can fully participate in our program. The third pillar of our work is community. Before we launched National Math Stars, we spoke with talented students from across the country and their families. One of the most common messages we heard is that students who are at the 99th or that 1 in 1,000 level often feel lonely. They may be the only child in their school or in their entire district who's that far advanced in math, and that can be an isolating experience. So for both our Pathfinder and our Voyager stars, we believe in hosting regular local events where possible, as well as virtual events. So whether you are in a major city or far out in a rural community, you're able to attend. We also have National Math Stars exclusive platforms, so parents, in addition to children, can connect and form community. And for our Voyager stars, we host an annual in-person welcome weekend where we have all families and their children come in person to spend a weekend together, getting onboarded into the program. And the last pillar I'm going to speak about today is advising. Another thing we learned from speaking with the families of advanced students is just how important the role of parents is. We know for young children, you as parents are critical in your child's success. But it's hard to figure out what should you be doing, what opportunities do exist, and where do you even get started? That's why we believe in providing comprehensive advising. We do this work with hundreds and thousands of students around the country, so we know what works and we know how to help you get there. For folks in our Pathfinder Stars program, this primarily takes the form of text-based and occasional one-on-one calls, with our Voyager stars being paired up with a dedicated family advisor who can work with them and their parents to access and find opportunities. So these 4 components, academic development, financial assistance, community, and advising, form the foundation of what it looks like to be in our National Math Stars program. In a little bit, I'm going to start talking about admissions and selection, but I want to give you an opportunity right now to ask any questions you have about our program or program design. I see a few people have typed in the chat. I see several people have put questions into the Q&A box. Please use that question and answer box to ask any questions on your mind, and I'll take a couple minutes to go through those right now. I see two questions to start off that are around our awards program. I have one family whose daughter is in the 99th percentile, but has not received an official award or award packet yet. And I have another parent asking if there's a way to get a medal or certificate if your district is not participating. So let me address both of these at the same time. Many schools and school districts are going to participate in our awards program, but have not yet distributed their awards yet. So you can apply today through our website, nationalmathstars.org, if you'd like to get your application in. And your child may come home in a week, a month, all the way up through the end of May with their award packet. Especially, I see one parent from Iowa. I actually know all of our Iowa awards are going to go out later this spring. So you can just be waiting for those. If you would like to request a medal and certificate, but your district has decided not to participate, please send us an email, admissions@nationalmathstars.org, and we're more than happy to get an order put together and shipped directly to you. That's not a problem. This ties well into another question I see, which is, can my child apply from self-referral? Yes, we do not require students to be nominated by their schools. We encourage parents to apply on behalf of their child if they think that they're extraordinary at math and need more opportunity. You can just visit our website, nationalmathstars.org, on your own and apply via self-referral at any point. Great question. I am looking at first question here is whether there is a general ballpark family income cutoff for the Voyager Stars program as compared with Pathfinder. When we talk about significant unmet need or students furthest from opportunity, we try and think about this in a holistic way. So we do look and ask for family income, but we also consider factors including parental education, location, whether you're in a rural area with difficulty finding opportunities or a more major metro. We look at school quality metrics and a whole range of additional factors. So there's no single income cutoff. However, I will say that for families making more than $150,000, most likely they will be steered towards our Pathfinder Stars program. The second part of this question is around the admissions portion and the online problem-solving assessment. Let me get to that in our next section. If I haven't addressed it by that section, please ask again, and I'll make sure to get it there. Thank you for all these questions, everyone. This is wonderful. I have a question asking, what is the typical cost for the tutor support in Pathfinder? That depends on the exact tutor that you get paired with and the exact setup that you have. However, we generally find about $50 an hour is what we're spending to find high quality math trained tutors. I have another question which asks, who funds this program? Great question. We are a nonprofit, meaning all of our funding is from philanthropy, and we receive that philanthropy from a range of individual donors, from public and private foundations. You can learn more about the specific set of foundations on our website, but we were really lucky to have the support of two foundations called Carina Initiatives and the Pollinera Fund, who gave us the initial seed of resources to get started, and we've since expanded those foundations to a range more who are supporting our work. This is a great question. It asks, if we are part of Pathfinder but cannot afford the summer camp, can we skip it, or is it mandatory to attend the suggested camp? Great question. We understand camps are very expensive. And so we will try to work with you in Pathfinder to make sure we're finding camps within your budget. And as mentioned, we also have need-based financial aid available. Part of the reason we opened up that need-based financial aid was to make sure that families who needed a little bit of support to make those opportunities a reality have it. And so we're hopeful that that financial need helps alleviate some of the financial burden associated with expensive items like summer camps. Very simple question here. Is this a program that keeps our kids engaged with math and science on top of school? Yes, that is exactly what we do. We are here to build on top of what your child is already doing in school, helping them access all of the resources and opportunities they could possibly want to pursue their love of math and grow to their best ability. This is a question. How many students have applied this year? And how do we know if our school district is a partner? Is there a list? We are in the middle of admission or of recruitment season right now. We're expecting approximately 10,000 applications this year. And I'll talk more about what that funnel will look like in just a moment. In terms of knowing whether your school district is a partner, we don't have a formal published list. I think the best way to figure this out is to email your school's principal and ask. If you want to email us, you can also email us at admissions@nationalmathstars.org, and we're happy to get you that answer. I have a question from one parent who asks, only about half of the nominees apply. Why would families not apply for their program? Are there any cons to the program at all? We don't think there are any cons. I like to emphasize that our program is totally free. We are not charging any money. We are doing this as a philanthropic effort to support extraordinary students. I don't know the reasons why families choose not to apply. I think many of them are busy with other opportunities and maybe they don't have time in their schedule. And I think many families just don't take the step to ask, to explore, and to understand what we're trying to offer. We would love to see that number be 100%, and we're working hard to try and communicate as much as we can about the work that we're doing, because we would love to support all the extraordinary students we can find. I have a question here. If we already applied, will the information be sent to school for awards? Really good question. We will not communicate directly with your school for awards unless they reach out to us. So if you've applied and you would like your school to participate, I encourage you to send them an email, and you could actually include our email on that as well and CC admissions@nationalmathstars.org. We can share with your school information about how to become involved and nominate all of their top students. I'm reading through. I see a handful of questions here about admissions that I will get to in just a moment. And I see some questions coming into the chat, so let me review those for a moment as well. I have one parent ask, if a student is awarded a medal but not selected as a star, can they participate in local events for selected stars? Unfortunately, most of our events are exclusive to students that have been selected for our program. We occasionally will be able to host more open events, and we do our best to share resources with all applicants that they can take advantage of. But usually most of our events for stars are limited to folks in our stars program. And the last question I'll take for this section, don't worry, there'll be many more minutes for question and answer soon, but is whether this meeting will be recorded. The answer is yes. So if you have missed anything, if you've joined us late, or if you just want to rewatch this at a later time, this is all being recorded and will get uploaded to YouTube. On our YouTube channel today, you can also view previous information sessions that we've hosted, which all cover similar information. So with that in mind, I know I haven't gotten to every single person's question yet. I will come back and try and get to all of your questions momentarily. But I'd first like to talk briefly about our admissions and selection process. This is the process from which we go from our total pool of applicants down to the group of students that ultimately are accepted as Pathfinder and Voyager stars. As I mentioned a moment ago, we expect to receive about 10,000 applications from students and families this year. The first stage of our selection process is narrowing down a set of finalists. We're expecting around 800 finalists for our Pathfinder program and approximately 500 finalists for our Voyager program. That's going to help us drive towards an ultimate class of approximately 400 Pathfinder stars and 125 Voyager stars as our 2026 cohort. So let's talk about how we make those decisions. First, how do we go from all of our applicants down to our set of finalists? This selection is all about looking for evidence of 1 in 1,000 math ability, which students can demonstrate in two different ways. The first and most common way students demonstrate their math ability is through the National Math Stars admissions exam. This is an exam that we have put together based on leading research and inspiration from other exams, and all applicants will be required to complete in order to move forward with the process. This exam takes between 1 and 2 hours. It's 30 questions in total, but has no official time limit. We're not trying to gauge your student's speed or your child's speed. We want to understand how they think and reason through problems. This exam will be sent out to all applicants on June 16th, and you'll have approximately 2 weeks to get it completed. It can be completed at any point during that testing window. So this is not preset testing slots. Anytime in the testing window, you can get that 1 to 2 hour test completed. And what I like to mention is we do not recommend any preparation. We've worked hard to try and ensure this exam measures math aptitude, not how much students have already learned in math class. And as such, we've tried to make it preventative against test preparation. So we do not encourage any defined preparation for the exam. Simply encourage your child to have fun and try their best. So as I said, this is how most of our finalists qualify. We do also consider existing test scores that you may have from your school or from testing you've done on your own. This could include things like state standardized testing data, IQ or gifted talented screener exams, or other school or district-based standardized assessments, such as the NWEA MAP test, the iReady, or others. In general, we know most applicants for our program are already scoring very highly, 98th, 99th percentile. So in general, we only consider existing test scores if they are truly off the charts and provide us with overwhelming evidence that this is a child with 1 in 1,000 ability. Otherwise, almost all applicants are selected as finalists based on performance on our National Math Stars admissions exam. So we'll announce our finalists right at the start of July. And if your child is selected as a finalist, there will be additional screening steps to go through. These screening steps depend on whether you are considered as a finalist for our Pathfinder program or our Voyager program. And remember that the math bar is the same for both programs. We will let you know and steer you in one of those directions based on the information you share with us during your initial application. If you are in consideration for our Pathfinder program, the only thing you need to do as a finalist is complete a proctored virtual COGAT exam that we administer with Northwestern University's Center for Talent Development. If you are a finalist for a Voyager program, there are a few more steps. In addition to that same proctored COGAT exam, we also have a family interview where parents, you will interview with our staff. We have a math interview where one of our math mentors will interview your child. And we have a formal income verification process. For both of these, all of the steps are 100% virtual and can be completed anywhere that you have access to a computer and internet connection. So this is the process first that we'll use to narrow our 10,000 applicants down into our finalists. And then from our finalists, down into our National Math Stars. Let me give you a sense of the timing for this. Many of you are here because you've already applied or are thinking of applying. First, know that the due date to apply is midnight on June 14th. So you have until June 15th to submit your application. On June 16th, applications will be closed and all applicants will receive our admissions exam due by the end of the month. Early July, we'll announce our finalists, and finalists will be screened during the month of July. That sets us up. It's actually not August 15th, which is a Saturday. We're going to announce our National Math Stars on August 14th, Friday, August 14th of this year. So that's a timeline of what you can expect. And now I'm ready for the next round of questions. First, here's our email if you'd like to send us an email and ask us anything offline. All of this information and more you can also find on our website. And as previously mentioned, this webinar recording will be available soon on YouTube. So with that in mind, I'm going to get back into the Q&A section. I see currently 11 questions in the Q&A and a handful more in the chat. I encourage you to put your questions in that Q&A section, and I will do my best to get through them one by one. If you do not have a question, know that there's no more content in today's session, so you're welcome to sign off, and I just want to thank you for your interest and for being here today. Let's get started with this question about what type of math we should expect on the June assessment. We've designed our admissions exam to measure the foundations of mathematical aptitude. We do not measure formal math content. So your child does not need to be exposed to any advanced math content beyond what a second or third grader would traditionally learn in school. And we've worked hard to make sure how much content they've learned in class does not unduly impact their ability to answer our questions. Next question asks, are students going into second grade in the fall available to apply now? If you'd like to view our exact eligibility criteria, you can visit nationalmathstars.org/apply. In general, it's open to students who this year are in second or third grade, or students whose birth date falls between a defined range, and you can find that range on our website. See a question, what type of test results would you like us to add to our child's application? Great question here. First, let me emphasize, most families submit 0 test results, and that is totally fine. As I showed a few slides back, almost all students qualify based on our built-in house admissions exam. Test scores rarely, but occasionally play a role. And so if you have test results, it could be something like an IQ or gifted test. It could be a school-based standardized assessment. Those are the things we're looking for. We generally don't need things like report cards or general test results just from day-to-day classroom instruction. Here's a question about paying for tutoring if we are in the Pathfinder program. For families in our Pathfinder program, we do offer financial aid to try and offset costs. And we understand families sometimes, even with that, have to make trade-offs. We do not mandate participation in any part of the program unless we are paying for it. So participation never will depend on your ability to pay. And we're committed to serving families across all financial and income realities. I see here another question about submitting test scores on the application. If you're looking for test scores and you'd like to find them to attach, we recommend you reach out to your child's teacher and ask if they have any school assessments, such as the NWEA MAP or iReady, or gifted talented assessments that they can share the score reports from. Question here asks, where will we have the final exam in July? Will it be online or will we need to travel? 100% of our admissions process is online. There will never be a need to travel. We're trying to keep this easy, and we know summer is a busy time. Great question here. If my child is accepted, is their acceptance guaranteed for the whole 10 years, or do we apply each year or on some other time frame? Um, if you are accepted for the whole 10 years. We will not retest or ask your child to requalify. There's one qualification period. All we ask is that you continue to engage fully with the program, and we do offer off ramps for families down the road who realize this maybe isn't what they would like to do, but you don't need to requalify or reapply. The question here, how many final students will you select? This year, we're planning to select 400 Pathfinder stars and approximately 125 Voyager stars. Another question asks, what happens after the final test? After the final test, we make all of our admissions decisions as a team. We sit down in admissions committees, review all of the information we've gathered from our first assessment, our final assessment, your application, everything we've been able to learn, and we make bespoke decisions, trying to identify students with that highest level of math ability for our support. This question here asks, does admissions only consider math ability and math scores, or does it also consider a more holistic set of criteria, such as creativity, critical thinking, etc.? It's hard to tease apart exactly. For example, critical thinking is important for scoring highly on our math exam, but we're not explicitly measuring that as a separate category. And elements like creativity do show up in our math interview for Voyager, but in general, we're trying to make objective score-based decisions so that we can be as fair as possible in our admissions criteria. Great question here. If you are considered for our Voyager path over here on my right side of my screen, but you're not selected, do you default into Pathfinder? You don't default into Pathfinder, but we have limited Voyager spots because this is a huge financial commitment we're making to each family. So if you are a Voyager finalist, if you demonstrate 1 in 1,000 math ability, but if we are not able to offer you a Voyager spot, you can be selected for Pathfinder instead. However, if you are not showcasing 1 in 1,000 ability, even if you've been advanced as a Voyager finalist, you are not necessarily guaranteed admissions into Pathfinder. Great question about age or grade cutoff. All that information about the age ranges and grades that can apply, you can find on our website, nationalmathstars.org/apply. Question here asks, is there a similar program for the top 1% in English instead of National Math Stars, National English Stars? That is a tremendous idea. We would love to see that. It's not a program we run, but if you learn about one, please share with us, as we're always looking to find other great organizations to promote. Really good question here. Can a child who did not qualify for the program in second grade apply again in third grade? Yes, absolutely. As long as your child is still within our age eligibility, you are welcome to reapply each and every year. Question here asks, what's the average yearly cost that Pathfinder Stars families can expect? I'm not sure that I know an exact answer here, in that it depends a little bit on families and what they're choosing to do. I would say many families, the cost is as low as $0 because they're able to take advantage of our financial aid, but it does go up from there. And we have families who decide to pursue the most expensive summer camp opportunities or the most expensive tutoring paths. And that, of course, increases the cost, but that's a decision that you as parents get to make. And as mentioned earlier, we do not require payment for participation in any portion of our program. The barrier to entry is $0. I have a question here. Child born just a little bit too early. They're just past our age range. Are there other similar programs you recommend? Um, what I would recommend is honestly submit an application. You'll receive an automatic confirmation email letting you know that they're a little too old. But in that email, we will also attach some supplemental resources, including some that list similar long-term support programs you might want to look for. So just submit an application, and that automated email confirmation will have some resources you can take advantage of. Got a question about reapplying. We've touched on that. And one here, are there support or resources offered to students not selected? Yes, we try and do everything we can to make sure you as parents have what you need to succeed, whether you're accepted as a National Math Star or not. If you apply, you'll automatically receive, for example, free access to our partner Brilliant.org's STEM learning resources. And then we have additional resource banks, discounts, and opportunities you'll be able to take advantage of, regardless of whether you're selected or not. Besides the online assessment, what other criteria is considered for selection? If I come back, where are we? Because I don't have a perfect slide for this, but we're looking for in our Pathfinder program, simply evidence of exceptional 1 in 1,000 math ability. In our Voyager program, we're looking for that same evidence of math ability, but in addition, we're considering a family's level of unmet need. And so again, Pathfinder is need agnostic, Voyager is need considered. Right. I see a bunch of questions in the chat. Let me flip over and get to those. First, I have a family who asks how their family income may impact consideration for Pathfinder or Voyager. Family income is one element we consider as a range of factors when understanding a family's level of unmet need. They ask specifically about whether it's adjusted gross income, and we actually look at both gross income throughout the year as it compares to family size. So we do consider family size and understand that a family of 8 needs more financial resources than a family of 3. So that is something we take into account. Great question here. How do you ensure there's no cheating on the admissions test, especially with no supervision and no time limit? We are very lucky to be able to work with a team of web developers as well as content developers who have built a custom website that allows us to securely monitor the platform to ensure students are not leaving the tab, copying answers, or otherwise infringing on the security of the exam. And so we feel quite confident that student scores are real. Of course, there's no way we can 100% guarantee that without supervision, which is why no one is accepted without completing a fully proctored COGAT exam in that second stage. The question here, if a student is not English proficient, will this impact his or her chances of being accepted? And if so, what support do they receive if accepted? We natively offer 100% of our materials in English and Spanish. So our application, our admissions exam, the COGAT exam, and all interviews are offered natively in both English and Spanish. If you have a student or child who's proficient in a language other than English or Spanish, we will do our best to accommodate with translations and supports. But right now, the only 2 we can natively support are English and Spanish. If accepted into the program, we have far more capacity to support students' language needs because that's a very small pool of students. And so we can be more tailored once accepted. The question here that asks, will the tests be the same for 2nd and 3rd graders? Our admissions exam is the same for all applicants, and we do consider age and look at age, but all students are completing the same exam. The COGAT is administered based on a student's age, so that's a slightly modified exam depending on your child's age, and that is an external third-party test that's administered, so they have their own design that's gone into that. All right, a few more questions. Thank you, everybody. We've got about 15 minutes left. So if you do have a question you've not yet asked, please take a moment to type it ideally into the Q&A or otherwise into the chat. Here's one. Are there similar programs or recommendations you would have for kids that are not accepted? Yes, we think there are many great opportunities and many great resources you can take advantage of as a parent, regardless of whether or not you're accepted. As soon as you apply, the automated confirmation email will include access to brilliant.org, one of our partners. And as you go through the process, we'll share more supplemental resource banks, discounts, and opportunities you can take advantage of. Here's a question. How's your organization funded? I touched on this in an earlier question. We are 100% philanthropically funded from a range of both private donors and large public and private foundations that support our work. Here's one. If a child skips a grade, which comparison group is appropriate for calculating the 99.9th percentile, grade-based or age-based? We don't recommend parents try to make the calculus of 1 in 1,000 or 99.9th percentile independently. Depending on the test, there are different norm tables that can be considered. And a large part of this calculation is based on our own internal admissions exam. So you can look at either grade or age-based. In general, if you're close to that level and you have an existing test score, submit it. If it's relevant, we'll take it. If not, it's no harm. But I wouldn't try to prejudge whether your child has met that 1 in 1,000 level, as this is a decision we make internally during our selection process. A question here about income verification, taxable income or non-taxable income and how it's considered. This is if you're being considered for a Voyager program, and we do ask for, in general, tax returns that include both taxable and non-taxable income. We're trying to understand a family's financial resources in a holistic sense. Question here, is the assessment proctored? Our NMS admissions exam, that first step of becoming a finalist, is not proctored. All of our finalists go through a proctored virtual COGAT exam. Really great question here. Asks whether this information session is offered in Spanish. Unfortunately, we do not offer this in Spanish. Yo hablo un poco español, pero no mucho. However, it will be uploaded to YouTube after this, and we encourage you to use YouTube's automatic translation captions for families that need help accessing this information. This question I'm looking at right now asks whether there's a defined cutoff that we're able to share that meets that 1 in 1,000 bar. At this point, we're not able to share an exact cutoff. This bar depends on a variety of factors, including the range of applicants we've received, the exact test, the exact age, et cetera. So this is a calculation we make internally. And I have a question here. How many National Math Stars do we currently have? When did this program start? We launched in 2023, so this will be our 4th year of recruiting students. Currently, we have approximately 500 students in our program. So we're going to be growing significantly this year and are excited to welcome a little over 500 more students as part of our 2026 cohort of National Math Stars. And I see one last question in the chat. If you have more questions, now is your chance to ask. But the last one I am seeing right now is, if your child has taken the COGAT recently after the application, should we submit those? And if so, how would we do that? Great question. If you have already applied and you've since gotten access to test data or have taken a new test, you're welcome to just email us that score report attachment. Admissions@nationalmathstars.org is our email address. I'll flip over to that screen so you can see it right here. Send us an email, include that score report, and we can attach it to your application from the back end. All right, I think I have gotten through all of your questions. Thank you all for the great questions and the curiosity you've brought today. If you have any more, you're welcome to type them into the chat or the Q&A box. Otherwise, on behalf of our entire team here at National Math Stars, just want to thank you for being part of this session. Thank you for your interest in our program, and we really look forward to getting to know you and your child more during this application, admissions, and selection season. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful afternoon, and we'll be in touch soon. I see one last question has come in, so let me just tackle this one while we're here. Child has participated in a regional or national math competition. Will that play into admissions? In general, only if we could verify objectively that their score demonstrates overwhelming evidence of 1 in 1,000 math ability. So we encourage you to submit things like Math Kangaroo, AMC style test or competition results, but generally they're not a major part in our admissions process. They can hurt, but they're generally not a guarantee. We've got one more question rolling in, asking if our child took the COGAT in this past December, would they still have to take it again over the summer, or can we submit their scores? I'm very sorry to have to share. We do ask all finalists to take the COGAT with us. It's just to ensure we're looking at the exact same norm tables, the exact same content and form administration. So we do require everyone to take our implementation of the COGAT. I know it's a lot of testing. I apologize for that. Fantastic. Well, thank you everyone for being here today. It's been a pleasure getting to chat with all of you. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. Bye bye.